everyone. AEW Fight Forever has just came out, and I've been mixed about this and the build release. And to clarify, I don't own this game yet. I probably will by July, but right now I don't. But I've seen a lot, I've seen new Legacy Inc.'s like 8 hours of gameplay. I've seen online footage. I've seen some of the creator wrestlers. I've seen everything that this game has to offer to my knowledge right now. So I think just going off of the knowledge I have of this game, I can give some general thoughts. I don't think I need to play the game to know it. But the gameplay, it does look fun, right? It's very fun. It looks arcadey. I know I'm going to enjoy it. I can just tell. Like that's the starting for me. I know it might not be for people. And I see a lot of comparisons to the 2K games. And on one hand, I think that's fair because obviously that's the main competition thing. That's the other main series right now. But also, I think it's simultaneously unfair because it's not trying to be like 2K. It's actively trying to be different. And it's trying to be more like retro games. Of course, they bring up No Mercy all the time, which is quite obnoxious, I must say. Because it isn't No Mercy, I'll tell you that right now. If they were going for that feel, I think, just looking at the two, I think they've probably failed on that front. But I don't care. I think generally it is capturing more of that 2000s game feel, more early 2000s and mid to late 2000s, even though I prefer the games there. Like the later SVR games, because my favorite wrestling game, the WWE wrestling game that is SVR 2008, and that's because it's like the main middle point between getting more simulation style and then the arcade style. Because I how I like wrestling is it's really weird, and I'm probably alone on this. And on this take, and it's not. I prefer the arcade gameplay, but I also play wrestling games for like simulation purposes. It makes no fucking sense in my brain, but how simulation style is like inherently more boring in my brain. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the arcade style, how matches are too short, yada yada yada. Matches are too short in every wrestling game except like the later 2K games, which is only because they have like a busted resiliency system, a busted kick-out system, and like it takes 3 finishers to beat an AI. I don't like that. I don't like it because it's not. It's like they made the AI challenging in 2K games. They haven't, but it means matches are longer. You have like a squash match system, which I quite liked, but 2K22 removed basically everything. So ripped it out. And that's why I'm not a fan of 2K games anymore. I was thinking at 2K20 because that's a disaster of a game. And 22 and 23 just aren't heading in the direction that's for me. So I am done with 2K. And that's the thing. People are comparing 2K and AEW to the game too much. And again, like I said, I think it's somewhat bad. But again, I think a lot of people interested in getting this game have already given up on 2K a long time ago, So it's like, okay, and but there are bad criticism for this game. There really is. This is undeniably not a perfect game. It's basically a good foundation for either a version of this game that has a lot more great updates or whatever their next game is. Not that this is bad, but it's heavily flawed, and you're just being a shell if you're denying it. I do think like the AEW fanboys are like genuinely probably the biggest issue with this game because they are. I know like this is like some fucking masterpiece of a game, and it's not. Like we need to be honest. We need to be realistic about this game, right? And it's just not worth the money. Like on face value, it's a fun game, but the content does not justify the £50 price tag. I think it's $60 in the US. And of course, there's even an Elite Edition, which for some reason isn't even physical. So I know a lot of people just get the physical copy, and then maybe you want to get the Season Pass DLC. Well, that's another 25 quid, mate, for a whole 6 characters and 4 meetings. That's £25, and that does not include Matt Hardy. You need to buy him separately for like £4, I think. Which is 2 Matt Hardys. I think that price tag's fair, but at the same time, you can tell they just kind of shoehorned Matt Hardy into a pre-order bonus. Like you can tell he was just base roster, and they were like, oh no, people are concerned about this game. Quick, pre-order bonus. We'll get people to pre-order the game. Like it's just scummy. I do think this game is very scummy. I think the practices they have here, they're shared in 2Ks in the sense of just fundamental DLC, because I do believe 2K's like DLC packs, they've always been fairly priced, I feel. And they've always made more sense to me because it's usually wrestlers who have just joined the company or rejoined the company, you know? So it's like, okay, I get like their DLC. What I don't get is why FTR is day one DLC when they have been in the company since 2020 and they're your current tag team champions. How's that work out? I'm curious, how does that happen? Because they were going on and on about how, like, oh, FTR is not actually in the roster. It's like, and they were right, he's not. They're not in the roster. Unless you had a season pass or you buy them separately. Their individual pack is like £10, 79 pence, whatever. And that's the same for the Bunny and Keith Lee pack, which I don't understand why that pack was decided, honestly. I don't get it. I like, your combination options going off of these people are, you have the Butcher and the Blade, right? Or you have Keith Lee and Swerve. You'd think, because those are tag teams, and the other 2 packs in the season pass are tag teams. But no, I guess they wanted to throw in the Bunny because they need more women on the roster. Which would be fair, they have like 14 or so women on the base roster, which I think isn't terrible, but yeah, I don't know. Definitely do some more, obviously. I mean, that's not the roster as a whole. But focus on the DLC here, focus on the pricing, you know. It's an unjustifiable cost. So yeah, the first 2 packs are the same price. You don't get them straight away. The Keith Lee and Bunny pack is in July, and the Hook and Danhausen one is in August. So there's like a month gap between each of them. But yeah, FTR is available. It's like right now. You can get it right now. There's footage on it right now. And they couldn't even give you their tag team. You need to make the tag team yourself. You need to add the tag finisher. You've got to do that all manually, which I think is fucking pathetic. If you ask me, I think that's incredibly just shit. It doesn't matter because once you've done it, you've done it. But that's just pathetic. People are spending over 10 quid for 2 fucking wrestlers. It's a joke. It's a joke. 2 wrestlers who should have just been in the base roster. Both because of how long they've been in the company, and also the fact that they're available day one. Stop a day one DLC. It is fucking absurd. I have not seen a game with this overpriced DLC on top of an already overpriced game. So if you're buying the game just for the game, you're like, okay, the DLC, I know, I don't need the DLC. Which I'm basically in the camp of at the moment. Even though I actually really like all the rest of DLC, so it pisses me off. But yeah, if you want to see like 50 quid, this is not a £50 game. It's not. It really isn't. Now, I for one think if you're someone like me who you're constantly addicted to fucking wrestling games, right? You're always playing a wrestling game in your cycle of games, right? You get hundreds of hours in any wrestling game, right? Regardless of what's present or not. Then yeah, you're going to get your money's worth of this. But fundamentally, this is not a £50 quality game. In a sense that it lacks the content, and then you've got the DLC that's also really overpriced. It's very concerning. I think the cost of this game is the most concerning factor, and I don't think enough people bring it up because people are too busy focusing on the lack of content. They're like, oh, we need this DLC pack with these wrestlers, and we need this and that. Do you realize how much money that's going to fucking cost? Because if we get Season Pass 2 right, then that's £50 to get all the DLC. That you've already paid the amount for a second copy of this game for 12 wrestlers, right? Absurd. So I really don't want that. I genuinely would rather have no more additional wrestlers and as DLC, either have an incomplete roster or shell out another £25 for us, please. I really do not like roster DLC. I really don't. And this is one where it's just not worth the value. But again, if you're going to get a ton out of the wrestlers that are there, then get it if you want. But if you're more like a casual fan, you're just like, oh, I want to try this out. Don't get it. It's not worth it unless you know what you're getting into. And you know that's like, okay, yeah, this gameplay will be for me, right? I'm going to get a lot out of it. And if you're not sure of that, wait for it to go on sale, because currently, in its current state, this is like a £20 to £30 game, if you ask me. Now, I found copies that available for the physical copy that's like £40, which I'm willing to swallow that pill. I'm willing to buy it for that price. But yes, I think fundamentally it's about £30 max. It is what is the value I'd put it at. But again, you could bring up the fact that it's not an annual release. It's going to get supported for a long while. A lot of this just comes from talk of fans, though. What Ukes have said is the amount of support the game will get, the amount of updates it will get, and new content, DLC, whatever, it's dependent on how much the game is supported by the fans. Which, I guess that makes sense, but it's fucking pathetic, because, like, hey, you fans, chill, give us money. I really don't like the practices here. Again, and that's my main concern. My main concern is, this post-launch content, it could either strengthen the game or worsen it with all the paid content. Because if they're adding characters, I assume they're all going to be paid DLC. I can't see them adding free characters to the roster. I can't see them doing that, which is just sad. Really. And the reason I can't see them doing that is because the wrestlers they've chosen for DLC would be wrestlers I'd put in the free shop. Like I say, throw in some like literal jobbers, but even then they're not going to go through that effort anyway. So yeah, I don't have much faith. I think you look at the 52 character based roster we have now, right? Where you don't have to buy anything. You look at that and you're like, okay, I like this roster, why not? I think in terms of being a base roster, I think it's fine. It's not like the Sounds of today where they have hundreds of wrestlers, but I think it's fine. They have like every like major name there, and they've got some more out there picks like Yuka and Abaddon. Again, I feel like the women picks being out there is solely because they need more women on the roster, but it's cool to see them regardless. But there are big omissions with the women wrestlers, like the current women's champion, Jamie here, and then you've also got Saraya. Those are the main two. And yeah, I feel, assuming no DLC pack, they'll just be in it. Tony Storm as well, actually. Wait, no, Tony Storm's the current champion, not Jamie. I don't know. I don't know. I don't follow the program anymore because it fucking sucks. It's sucked for like a year now. But I've of course been interested in this game. But I don't know, those are like the three big names that are absent. And I mean, Saraya and Tony showed late, and James been around for like a long time, since like 2020, I think, maybe earlier. I don't know. But so yeah, it's kind of weird how she's not in, and it's like there's like a time cutoff date for this. I feel because there's a lot of stuff from like 1 year and it's lost for another year. You know, you've got a lot of stuff from like the original couple years of AEW. Then you have more recent stuff, and you try to prioritize like former WWE guys like CM Punk's here, obviously, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and stuff like that are in the game over like a bunch of AEW originals who were there since day one and then missing. Which I get that, but also yeah, it doesn't feel complete. However, I do think it would be impossible to have a complete roster for your first go when AEW hires like everyone and their fucking mom, right? Like the roster is insane in real life, and I think this represents it pretty decently, but yeah, it's not a crazy selection. With the DLC, because there's technically 8 DLC characters right now, this brings it to a 60, which feels a bit more complete, but at the same time, I feel those 8 characters should have just been in the game normally. Because if you don't pre-order get Matt Hardy, then it's like £28 to get those characters. And even then, you're not going to have a complete roster because they'll probably bring out with more DLC. So, yeah, I just wouldn't recommend the DLC at all right now. I mean, Matt, if you don't pre-order, which again I wouldn't recommend pre-ordering anyway. If you haven't pre-ordered, then you're smart. Then he's only £4, and that one seems like a more fair price. It's annoying that you have to pay for him, but I'd get wanting to buy him. That's one I'd understand. The rest is too expensive, in my opinion. And, I mean, look at Matt Hardy, and I say technically there's 8 DLC, it's because there's 2 versions of Matt Hardy that are, like, separate characters. So technically it's 60. And, yeah, emphasis on technically because of that alt for Matt Hardy. And also, you know, they have stuff like Aubrey Edwards, who's just a referee. That's a playable character. That counts to the 52. So technically, not really a proper roster member there. And again, they're just kind of throwing out picks for the women's roster because their women's division sucks. I mean, I don't mind her being there. Don't get me wrong, but again, worth considering. Like in terms of the Legends pick, they have Owen Hart, which is just very random. Look, it's cool to have him in a game. But I just don't see what I'd match him up with. There's no other legends in the game. You know, there's no Taz, there's no Mark Henry. Look, like they have a lot of legends under their contract, and they didn't use any of them except for Owen Hart. And I'm not a fan of that. I think they waste an opportunity to have a good legends roster there. And if they weren't going to do that, then don't have any legends at all in my mind. Although I guess you'd consider, like, Brody Lee, he's kind of a legend now too. But of course, because he was more recent talent, it makes sense that he's here. He fits with the existing roster, whereas Owen Hart doesn't fit with anyone. There's no matchups I can give him, essentially. To unlock, you have to like win like 100 matches or something like that. He's like the hardest to unlock, which I guess makes sense because he is the one like old legend. But yeah, I mean, and somebody mentioned the shop. The item shop is a good idea. Right now, it's fucking useless. But I think this is one that will certainly improve over time. And that's because, I mean, the item shop you can buy like various stuff like create wrestler parts, like create arena parts, some other things. But the more important one is the other section, where you can buy like an elite difficulty, which apparently is actually hard, which is cool. So you could buy Cody, you can buy Aubrey, and when you like get certain unlockables that need certain requirements, they'll also appear there, like mini games and Owen Brody. I don't know how you unlock Brody. Is he locked? I don't know. I'm not sure about that one actually. But yeah, there's also altar ties, and this is thing that I'm positive but critical on right now. There's only 3 alts you can buy in the shop, and there's a Britt Baker one, and there's 2 for each of the Young Bucks. Now, when you go to create a wrestler, there's an option to modify a wrestler, so like an existing actual one. So you think, oh, I can edit the attires, because you can make up to 5 presets for the wrestler. You can only give them a shirt. You can't edit anything else. You can't change the color of anything. So it's not like classic SVR, superstar threads. It's not that. You could just give them a shirt, which probably explains why there's so many shirts in the Create Wrestling menu. Which, why would we care about throwing a shirt onto a wrestler? Fun fact, the actual thing I wanted to use it for was to remove a shirt. I wanted to remove Sting's shirt to just have him in a singlet, but I guess I can't do that now. I was just very disappointed when I heard that, because I don't even need like an attire modifier. You know, I don't actually need that. You know, I play SVR 2008 a bunch. Outside like a couple exceptions, like no one has alts. I'm fine with that. I can deal with that. But when you provide the setting, right, the menu there, that makes it seem like, oh yeah, you can modify your wrestler, but you can't. That's just scummy. And again, it feels like something that's going to be changed later on. But why is it in this state in the first place? This feels like a beta for a £30 game that you're spending £50 on. It's mind-boggling. This is not up to the code of quality. I don't know. It's just not the standard. It says the auto ties available. They're fucking cool, right? And I know Kenny has these, but no one else does. Kenny has like 3 extra alts, which is cool. Where you add a preset and then you can like select the attire from there. Why you need to do that manually, I don't know. Again, it feels like that menu is just to add the attires, but then why do you have that menu at all? Just put them, just add them to the select screen options. So again, I feel like that's one that will be updated to actually allow customization. But again, I'm not sure why it's like that anyway. Like why is it saying like that? In the state that it's in, I don't understand. Again, we are like preying on like good post-launch content because, you know, oh, it's not an annual release, it has support for a while. I don't like hoping on free updates like this, again, because some of them aren't going to be free because you're going to have DLC shit. In terms of what I think we need, I think we need free roster members. I don't think we need pay DLC roster members. I think we need match types. We need more match types. We just need an update for like settings, really. You know, add some like fundamental shit. Like there's no tornado tag in this game, and there's no settings to have like basic stuff like first blood, which you think you have when they put an emphasis on the blood mechanics. You think you have that as a win condition. There's no like option to select submission or knockout only, so that also rules out a couple more very simple to implement match types. There's no last man standing. Again, that's just a 10 count. Easy to implement. There's no... What else? Iron Man, which is crazy because there's a lot of Iron Man matches in AEW. You know, there's a whole thing, and I thought this should 100% be in the game because most AEW matches have a time limit, I thought. But yeah, you can't set a time limit and thus you can't have an Iron Man mode. There's an options menu, but that's for the literal options, not the match rules. I think that's very, very fucking cheap. I really do not like that. You know, because people are going, well, you don't play these match types. I do. SVR 2008 has 10 more match types for just singles in this. And I have played all of them. I play all of them, right? And this just doesn't have many. Again, it's something that you could update them more, but they haven't promised anything in updates, so I can't just say that. And even I don't feel it's acceptable to release a game in this state, but we've already had delayed so much. And now we're looking at it, it's like, well, this doesn't even feel like the full release. This feels like a beta for something that we don't even know what the finished product will look like. It's very concerning, what we get after this. And that's why I'm very worried about the game. That's why I don't recommend buying it until it goes on sale, at least. Because while I'll clearly enjoy the game, I have so many issues. And I think they'll just be more creative depending on what the launch content will be, if there's much, if there's not. One thing we know has been leaked is a fucking Steam Stampede Battle Royale, which looks crazy, and that sounds fun as like a crazy online mode. But why isn't there like a single player option for that? Like just against computer players, or like just a regular like stadium Stampede match that's like in the real life ones, as like a match type option to bulk out the match types. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you do this just for online? Again, it feels like a free-to-play game. It feels like some live service bullshit. I don't get it. And to clarify, because this has been a massive concern, the item shop is not for microtransaction stuff. It's for the in-game cash, which you just earn. And you earn quite a fair amount of it. So that one's fine, right? It just needs more stuff in the shop, which I'm sure we'll get. Because, I mean, we've seen stuff like leaked Chris Jericho ults, leaked Owen Hart ults, and I think some other stuff that aren't actually in the game right now. So, clearly there's going to be more ults, but I feel like we should be able to customize the wrestlers anyway. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about the lack of ults right now, because that's one thing I can tell that free updates will resolve. But it is weird. It's very weird. So yeah, I mean that Battle Royale, that sounds crazy. That's not fun, right? But there's also a Battle Pass leaked. So if they do release mode, we don't even know for sure if it's coming or not. Like it seems like a very crazy thing to do. Especially when like they've only been saying, well, we can only do 4-man matches. That's why there's no trios option in the game that has trios championships. Well, in the company it has trios championships. They're not in the game. You can't do trios matches. You can't do any 6-man matches, which is just pathetic. It was a limitation thing, I get it, but if you're promising a 30-man Battle Royale, then that's not a limitation, is it? I'm very curious about what that mode's going to be, and I don't feel like it's going to even be a thing, because that sounds crazy. It doesn't align with anything, but there's like very clear leaks for it, same for the Battle Pass, which £50 game on top of a £25 season pass DLC on top of a £4 pre-order bonus. And now you've got to buy seasonal battle passes for, I don't even know what they'd be for. That is pathetic. If they go that route, that is fucked up. Because I don't know. I don't even know how to fucking explain how it's fucked up. Like you're paying for a full game, which is already overpriced. There's a DLC which is already overpriced and should have just been in the base game. There's a pre-order bonus, and now there might be this. So again, that's a concern. This is a game I don't think you're going to be able to 100% get all the content, because I feel again a lot of it's going to be locked behind certain paywalls. If they go with the battle passing, this is the scummiest route I've ever seen a game take. I don't know of any games that do this, that are a pay, like you pay full price game and you get a battle pass that you have to also pay for. There's not a free pass, right? If it was, then I'd be 100% for this, but apparently there's a premium track, right? So obviously you got to pay for it, presumably, or maybe it's you spend like this amount of cash, but I don't think it would be, judging by how greedy they've already been with the season pass. I think you'd actually have to pay it with real money, or like a fucking V-Buck equivalent cost, which, oh man. So actually I am concerned for the alts, because I feel like that's just going to be skins, which is fucking stupid. Oh, I gotta get the tier 100 in the battle pass to get the Black Knight Luchasaurus skin. Like, fuck off. I don't want that. I don't think anyone does. And I know some people are going, well, if it supports the game for longer, fuck off. Like how much money are you willing to burn for this game? How much? Like there's got to be a stopping point. Like I get it. Like oh wait, the more content the better. But if I'm having to pay shitloads for it, no, because I'm not going to give in to that, because it's too absurd for me to justify buying. And then I'm just going to be sad because then I don't have all the content in the game, and then the game's going to feel even more incomplete to me. So I really hope this isn't a thing. In terms of the online at the moment, it looks solid. It's actually, because I don't play online at all in wrestling games, except 2K Battlegrounds, but that wasn't a wrestling game. It looks good so far. From what I've seen, it looks like it runs well, and it's the type of game that I can get into a ranked. They have ranked, which they have like some cool ranked card things. They also have casual, which they are the same basically, but ranked will count to your actual win-loss record, and so which shows if you rank up and whatnot. I don't know if you rank down. I assume you do, but I don't actually know. That's stuff I don't know. Like I've only seen one-on-one matches online, which concerns me. In a sense that I'd like to think that there's like the other match types, what few there are, you can play them online, but I don't think you can, because I haven't seen any footage of it. I don't know, and that is a concern of mine, because I want to play this game online. I want to play the hardcore match types, right? So yeah, it's a lot to be running off in this game. It doesn't look creative stuff. Create a moveset. It's got a bunch of animations. I think it's very good. There's a lot of entrance like presets and stuff. A lot of them are just like actual like wrestlers in WWE are just not in the game, whatever. Which I think is cool. Because again, I like ring wrestlers. That are like real ones. But then you get to the creation suite, it's not very good. Now, I think the clothing options are fine. I think they're actually good. I think a lot of people are going, well, there's not many options here. They don't realize the shop actually has like a bunch of stuff that you need to buy. With the in-game currency, not with actual money, thank fuck. I think there's a lot of options, and I think a lot of them playing the specific wrestlers. Like you have shirts for like AEW wrestlers that aren't even in the game. I don't know if that means they'll be added later, because there's like shirts like Hook and Danhausen, which obviously they'll be added in August. So I don't know. And in terms of what you can actually create, the issue comes from lack of like face options. Body morph options, like there's a slider for stuff, but you can't get like crazy varied with it. Although I think that's just how the character models in the game are, so it's not too bad there. But there's not many face models, there's not many hair options. Only like 17 hair options, which is obviously a big concern. You can't nail it, you can't get hair that reflects some wrestling. You're already stumped when you're trying to recreate a wrestler. But yeah, skin tone you kind of like modify. You have like 12 set ones, so that's concerning. But I have some good creative wrestlers. I do think, despite limitations, you can make good creative wrestlers. The best one I've seen so far is like a Shinsuke Nakamura one. I know it's one of Roman Reigns going around, but it just doesn't look right, in my opinion. Like clearly they've done the best they can of what's there, but yeah, I do think simplicity is good for core formulas, because it's going to be very easy to recreate the creative wrestlers you see, and you're like, oh, I want to make that. And there's a lot of animations for like certain wrestlers and stuff that aren't in the game, which is cool. There's no creations, there's no like community creations thing to download for wrestlers, which I'm fine with, personally. just because I am used to the qualifying thing. I maxed out like all 30 slots for career wrestling this shot 2008. I want to do a video on my career wrestlers for that. But yeah, Create Arena I think is solid. But I say that as someone who didn't even think they'd have Create Arena in this game. In terms of the actual arena section, there's like 7 arenas. It has all the 4 pay-per-views, and then Rampage, Dynamite, and Dark. There's no Dark Elevation, but who cares? I don't think the arena's different. They just have Elevation and the Dark on that show. I could be wrong. And they don't have Forbidden Door, but they don't have any New Japan reps in this game, so that makes sense. I know, Create Arena, you just kind of look at all generic options. You can't really modify the colour stuff, which I don't like. And again, I feel like changing the colour stuff should just be a very easy to implement feature. But you have a lot of like the generic patterns and stuff. Patterns that are in the 2K games for like over a decade now, which I think is kind of funny. Because obviously it's a lot of Yuke's assets. Also, like a lot of the animations, you could tell they are literally just like the ones in 2K games or in past WWE games. But the thing is, all the animations in this game are hand-drawn. So, and that includes the ones that are literally just exact replicas for the most part of the 2K moves, which 2K does mocap. And I think mocap works just fine. You can have the hand-drawn animations, because that's obviously really cool, and you do it for like the crazier moves. But yeah, I don't get why you'd hand draw over a mocap animation that looks the same. Again, because hand drawing is more costly and it takes more time. So it's like, why have you done this? I don't get it. But yeah, I think Create Wrestler definitely needs improving. I don't think it's terrible, but I think we need more options in terms of the actual character, the person's appearance. I think in terms of like costume options, I don't even think it's that bad. I think it's actually a good selection there. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be that in depth anyway. I mean, they haven't, like, AEW games haven't even talked about it at all, so I was like, yeah, that probably means it's a bit shit. Creator Moveset is fantastic, though, I feel. And the entrances, I actually prefer to wrestling. I think these are the best entrances in any wrestling I've seen. And, like, yeah, they're only 7 seconds, but I'm not going to skip them now because they're only 7 seconds. And, like, you can, like, blast pyro off and, like, a bunch of shit. You can, like, have, like, entrance props and create entrance, like, certain things. You can, like, change the hand poses. Like, I think they did a really good job. You can have, like, championship entrances for, like, up to 5 belts. It is nuts. So I think they had very good hoodie entrances, personally. And I think the people going, oh, there's no full entrances. So you don't skip every single entrance. If you don't skip entrances, then you're just boring. But yeah, the same things, you can interact with the entrances. I think that's a very good system. I'm actually very positive on that. And yeah, the actual matchups that are there, I think they're all solid. I think the ladder match is kind of scuffed, but I do like how you couldn't get any weapon out in it. Like, I just like having the ladder match option. But it's only 1-on-1, which is weird, because Road to Elite we found there's a triple threat ladder match, so why they didn't just have ladder as an option for all the matchups, even tag team. Because Tornado Tag really isn't hard to do, because unless they somehow don't have AI for that works for, like, 2 allies, without, like, the regular tag rules. But we know they do because there's a handicap match in Road to Elite. And we know there's no handicap matches in Exhibition. Why? Why would you limit this stuff? It's so frustrating. This is exactly what WWE games have been doing for fucking decades. Stop locking your content. Just make it accessible. And again, they might not add it in future release. I don't know. They really should, because it's like I said, the new match choice I propose, they require little to no effort to implement. It's just you haven't provided us with the options to do so. And it's done. Now, it has a tag stuff. The tag stuff looks fun, but again, you want no tornado tag and stuff, so you just have to do 2-on-2. Triple threat and fatal 4. There's no additional options, and it ends there. There's no 5-way. There's no 6-man, which I don't think we need higher than 6 people in the ring, but because there's trios across the big AEW thing, and if they're forcing a 30-person battle royale in leagues, then surely it's possible to have 6 people in the ring, surely. Especially when there's not much going on in terms of the graphics, which I'm fine with. I think I didn't have a problem with the graphics. I thought the art style was a bit weird, but it's kind of grown on me. It's still kind of ugly in some ways, but I think it's fine. But yeah, no, it's not £50 graphics, is it? In terms of like the additional stuff, like with still matches, you do have the option for falls count anywhere, have the option for unsanctioned lights out. I feel like those are the same, except one just has the rule of you can pin some of your opponent anywhere. I don't know if they're different in terms of the weapon options. I don't think they are. There's over 40 weapons in the game. Weapon stuff is fucking brilliant. Of course, the blood's brilliant. Like, very fun. You know, that's something to highlight there. And it's why it's annoying that they don't have more match types. Because, like, well, you've done cool stuff here. So, why not have more options? Like, I don't get it. Now, 3-way and 4-ways, like, they're also no DQ, by the way, to clarify. Which I feel is worth clarifying, because I know a lot of wrestling games actually have disqualifications on, even though that's not how 3-ways and 4-ways work. But yeah, you do have the no DQ rules and stuff. If you do have DQ on, then you can't bump the ref. You can't take the ref out. To my knowledge, which is disappointing. Like, that should just be a fundamental feature in all games, especially when you have one of the referees as a playable character anyway, which also special referee. I don't know why that's not in every game, because it's very easy to implement, because you can just reuse referee animations, but give the player the option to use them. That's another one. Again, it's not one I need. I don't think they've ever done a special ref match anyway, but that's always something I'm like, you should have it in a wrestling game, come on. So yeah, you go for that. And you've got the more out there matchups that are like listed separately, which I don't get. Not a match. Unless they add like the tabs for 3, 4 people or whatever. Or you think they'd add that to the tabs for the regular ones. I don't know what's going on with the ladder match thing. I'm just going to have any ladder match at this point. But then there's some good stuff. There's some really good stuff. There's Casino Battle Royale, which you can have solo. I have a team one. And I really like the team one. Where you have like 4 teams and like, you know, your people, when one of your guys gets eliminated, another one comes in. There's only 4 people at once, again, because it seems like they're limited at 4 players, but again, I don't see why they'd be limited for that many. And there's a singles, as soon as someone gets eliminated, just another random person shows up, which again, it isn't as cool, but obviously it's good to have the option there. I think it's done very well. I think how you eliminate people is very fun. I was genuinely impressed with this match type, because I was like, I think Royal Rumble matches are shit in any wrestling game, except Wrestling Empire, because you can have literally all 30 show up. But here, I think they did a good job, given their limitations. If they even were limited, I don't know. I think it's a genuinely good match type. And as it is explained by Deathmatch, that's good. When I say it's good. I still think how the barbed wire works in Wrestling Empire is better. But yeah, this is cool. It's a cool one. I like how you have the explosion and it doesn't end the match. I like that. How it's just a in-game mechanic. It's a good match type. You can't go out the ring though. It has like barbed wire stuff out the ring. But I don't think you can go out the ring. Which is kind of lame. Because there's barbed wire surrounding the ropes. But yeah, it's a fun mode, and obviously that's like the main appeal in terms of like the match types. Because like, well, no wrestling game has this, Wrestling Empire has this, but I think what's available is solid, except for that mattering that needs polishing. well, at the very least, just added to 3 or 4 people matches. And I saw somebody who plays at the fucking SVR matches, not the 2011 one. The 2011 ladder match was actually really overrated because they took away a lot of stuff you can do with ladder for the sake of, oh, look at these ladder physics. And the one where you can like do shit like the corner moves, the helicopter ladder thing, like a bunch of cool stuff there that I don't think is available in this ladder match. I haven't seen much footage of it. But yeah, I just feel they needed more like basic setting match types to make up for this, because I get not having many like crazy ones. I hope in future days we do get stuff like steel cage. I think that's a very standard one that could be added, and also just like again things that I proposed earlier. I feel they should just be in the base game anyway, and also trios and steel cage. They're like the main two, and on top of that, it's like all the ones that should just be available through settings that aren't available in the game. That's my main thing with this game. I critique a lot of stuff, but in terms of when you get to the core gameplay, just playing the game, you're not going to have many match type options. And as someone who thinks that's very important, obviously, that I think that's the main concern with this game. More so than the roster, because the roster, I think, again, is fine for the balance there. My concern is how much do they add that costs a shitload of money. In terms of the career mode, it's very short, but it does make it replayable. I think they're getting very absurd with how replayable they think it is, though, because there's like one challenge to complete it like 100 times or some shit. Nobody wants to do that. But yeah, it's like 3 to 4 hours, I think. I think some people have done it to less than 3 hours. So it's 4 hours max to complete it, to my knowledge. And it looks fine. It looks fine. It looks like a fun little time. I don't know if I get bored of it, because there's like different options, there's different paths and stuff, which I think is cool. But even I don't know if that would make me care about replaying it. Basically, each time you complete it, you're supposed to unlock a new minigame, but when I saw New Legacy play, they didn't. So I don't know if there's a glitch or what. Minigames. I haven't brought on minigames. There's a list of like the match type stuff. They're not, though. You get 3 at the start, and I don't know how many could be unlocked. There's a lot. There'll be 4 DLC ones, 2 are out. Which, by the way, the Danhausen Hook pack for the DLC, that's like £7.19 compared to the ones that are like £10, whatever. And that's because they don't have minigames in that one. Which even then, you have the Matt High one, which is cheaper for the same amount of content. I don't know how they're dying consistent about it. I don't know how they price this stuff. But yeah, I feel the minigames, they're a fun thing to have, but I can take it or leave it. I don't really care. I think some of them are a bit shit. I like the ones where you're actually like basically playing yourself. You're playing the character. I don't like the ones like the quiz one or freaking Penta Says. Those just look like shit to me. But I think there are some actually good ones there that are actually potentially replayable, but they're very short because of mini games. And I think the fact that you're locking someone behind DLC and you're thinking you could charge extra for mini games is pathetic. Although with the FTR DLC, the 2 mini games it comes with are the 2 best ones that I've seen so far, in my opinion. You have you have the Join Us one where you like chase after fans, like all 4 people, and you're holding his mask and you just gotta like slam it on their head. And then there's also like the Death Race one where you're just in like some barbed wire arena and you're just skateboarding. Fun. I think those are cool. But at the same time, I raised the question: why can't you have like that Death Race arena as like an actual just like match type location? Just point it out there, because you have like a big space and there's like barbed wire to interact with. I don't know. There's also like feels there that they could make available for like match type options, but they don't. So it's weird. But yeah, I think the minigames, they're good. I feel overall, but I feel we didn't need minigames. I feel they could have focused on a lot more stuff. And they certainly should not be locking mini games behind a paywall, especially when there's only 3 available ones and they're really hard to unlock. Like, they're mini games. I don't know what they were thinking with that, and I really don't. This review has been way too long, but I believe I've covered everything there. But with the career mode, I think it's fine. Overall, I think I've been too critical about it personally, but I say that as someone who doesn't like career modes in wrestling games normally. So it's somewhere it's like, oh, it's short, I'm fine with that. Oh, it has playable, it's got more replayable than ever. Okay, I'm fine with that. Again, I don't particularly care about the career mode though, so I get why people get bothered by it being like that. But I don't even like SBR season modes. I think that's shit. There's not a single wrestling game with a career mode I like, except Wrestling Empire, but that's just because it's free roam, and even the free roam is kind of pointless. So even then, that's not perfect. I kind of just play it because it's silly. See, I've never been too big on the career modes anyway, and this feels like one that I'd actually quite enjoy, despite its flaws. So yeah, it doesn't bother me much personally, but I'd get really annoyed by it. I'd definitely check out some of that to determine that, because I know career modes are a big part of it. I know create wrestling's a big part of wrestling games for people. And I mean, the career wrestling is for me, for sure. In terms of wrestling games that don't have me, like the 2K games, like I wouldn't care about getting career wrestlers because firstly the graphics are way too realistic, so you can just tell that a career wrestler's a career wrestler. That's how I felt, or at least. Whereas in games with more simple graphics, like a good career wrestler can blend in. And I think it's like that in the SVR games, and I think it's like that. With this game, despite limited options, the problem there is you've got to be very selective in terms of what wrestlers you want, because a lot of them just aren't going to be compatible with what options are there. So yeah, overall, it's a mixed bag, but again, I've probably been more negative on the stuff here. I do think it's a fun game. The gameplay looks good. It looks like it's got a lot of depth to it. I think the online is probably some fun to we had there, but online wrestling games have always probably like quite flawed, and I can tell there's already like some cheap strategies people could probably do. I think with the characters that are available, I like their movesets. You can have like 5 signatures and finishes. It's cool. It's very cool. What's there for the gameplay? I just want more. I just want more match types for this gameplay. I just like to see more in terms of the content that's here. More options for creation stuff. I don't even need a change Road to Willie. I think that one's fine. More alts in the shop, like more customization again. I guess that falls under, and more match types. The wrestlers, I don't even need more. You know, if their DLC wasn't so overpriced, I'd be like, yeah, bring on some more. But now I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not feeling the idea of even more DLC wrestlers. I think like a season pass 2 is kind of inevitable. I don't know if we get more after that. I don't know. But yeah, but basically we're kind of reliant in terms of like the problems being solved. We're dependent on what the free updates will be. But so yeah, right now I would look at it for what it is, and right now I don't think it's worth the £50, which doesn't surprise me. Now comes in a few months' time, maybe there's a lot more. Maybe in a year's time, there's a lot more. And of course, price drops, sales. Although, with how stingy they are, I don't know if they're going to go on sale. Who fucking knows? But I think this is a game that can definitely get improved or worsened if they go the fucking bullshit microtransactions route. That's up to them. That's up to you, Ukes. But for now, that is all. I'm excited to play this game, but I will not deny its flaws. Absolutely not. But it is a wrestling I'm going to have a lot of fun with. Definitely, check out the gameplay, see if it's for you. Figure out how much you're going to get out of this game, right? Because with that price tag, you've got to really think about it. But yeah, I think it's a good game. It's fun. It's riddled with a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of, the price tag for everything's just overpriced, and just a lack of content, in the sense of customization of match types. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.